Welcome back to Thinkiverse Podcast, unlocking knowledge across the spectrum every day. I'm Ryan Lanas.
And I'm Rana Eskelto.
Ready for another deep dive, you guys?
Absolutely.
We're going to be talking about a really fascinating health topic. Well, it's a health topic, but it's like worldwide. It's stress, burnout, and how it affects your brain. But don't worry, we'll break it down easy peasy like we're explaining it to, like, I don't know, a fifth grader.
Yeah, so imagine your brain's like a computer. If you keep it running nonstop, without any breaks or updates, it's going to start to slow down and glitch, kind of like what happens with stress and burnout.
Okay, so let's start with the basics, Our sources, they show that 72% of people are dealing with stress. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And 70% are showing signs of burnout. So it's basically like everyone in your class is overwhelmed and tired.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Burnout isn't just about feeling tired anymore. It's also about feeling glued to work. You can't stop checking your phone or your emails even when you're supposed to be relaxing.
Yeah. So that always on feeling could actually be a sign of burnout.
It's definitely possible.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah, I think so. So our brains are built to handle short bursts of stress, like when you have a big test coming up or you're about to go on a roller coaster ride. And that's called acute stress.
Like a quick sprint.
Exactly. But the problem is a lot of us are dealing with this constant stream of low-grade stress, worrying about homework, chores, family stuff.
That's a lot.
That's chronic stress.
Okay.
And it's like running a marathon without any training.
No wonder we're feeling burned out.
Yeah.
Our brains aren't meant to be on all the time.
Exactly. It's like a dam trying to hold back like a flood.
Yep.
Eventually, something's got to give, and that's when we start seeing those warning signs.
Like headaches, stomach aches, trouble sleeping. I know I get weird tongue spots when I'm super stressed.
Really? That's your body's way of waving a red flag, saying hey, pay attention, something's not right. We call those signals the canary in the coal mine.
Canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so back in the day, miners, they used to take canaries down into the coal mines with them. And if the canaries stopped singing or got sick, it meant there were these dangerous gases in the air and the miners needed to get out fast.
So our bodies are like the canaries, and those weird symptoms are like the warning signs.
Exactly. The key is learning to recognize those signs and doing something about them, before things get worse.
Okay.
But before we jump into solutions, let's take a quick break to tell you about our awesome YouTube channel, Thinkiverse Podcast.
That's right. If you're enjoying this deep dive, be sure to like and subscribe to Thinkiverse Podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
We've got tons of other fascinating topics waiting to be explored.
We're unlocking knowledge across the spectrum every day, so hit that subscribe button and join the adventure.
Yep.
Now back to our deep dive into stress and burnout.
All right, so we've talked about the problem, but what can we actually do about it? Are there any quick fixes?
Well, there's no magic button.
Oh.
But there are some simple yet powerful techniques that can help, like breathing.
Breathing. Seriously, we do that all the time.
We do, but we often forget to breathe deeply and consciously. And one technique that's super helpful is called diaphragmatic breathing, or you might hear it as belly breathing.
Ooh, sounds fancy. Tell me more.
It's actually really simple. So put one hand on your chest and the other hand on your belly. Now breathe in deeply through your nose, feeling your belly expand like a balloon.
I'm about to pop.
Not quite. Hold your breath for a second or two, then slowly exhale through your mouth, feeling your belly deflate. And do this for a few minutes, focusing on the rise and fall of your belly.
I already feel a little calmer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how much power we have in our breath, right?
Yeah.
Another simple technique is called stop, breathe, be.
Okay.
Whenever you feel overwhelmed, just, pause, take a deep breath, and focus on the present moment.
Like hitting the reset button on your brain, right?
Exactly. And what's even more fascinating? Our gut health plays a big role in how we handle stress.
Wait, what? Our gut? I thought that was just for digesting food.
It does that too, but it also has a huge impact on our mood and emotions.
Real?
Yeah. You see, our gut is home to trillions of tiny bacteria called the microbiome.
Trillions. That's more stars than I can count.
It's a lot. And these little guys, they actually produce chemicals that communicate with our brain.
What?
Yeah, affecting everything from our mood to our sleep
So if we want to manage stress, we need to take care of our gut too.
Absolutely.
Right.
Eating a healthy diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and fermented foods like, yogurt and kimchi.
Wait, too.
Yeah, it can help support a healthy gut microbiome.
So no more junk food for me.
Well, a little treat every now and then is fine. It's all about balance.
Okay.
Remember, we're aiming for a healthy and happy brain and gut.
Makes sense. So far, we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
We talked about the difference between acute and chronic stress,
Yeah.
the importance of, recognizing our body's warning signs, and some simple techniques for, calming down. What else is there?
Well, let's talk about our modern-day nemesis technology.
Ugh, tell me about it. My phone's like an extension of my hand.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But all that screen time can actually, wreak havoc on our brains. It can lead to something called popcorn brain.
Popcorn brain.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious, but probably not good for you.
Not really. It's when our brain is constantly, bombarded with information from our phones, TVs, and computers,
Oh, yeah.
making it, really hard to focus and relax.
It's like our brains are popping all over the place.
Exactly. So one important strategy is to create a media diet.
Media diet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like we make choices about, what food we eat, we need to be mindful of the information we consume.
So, less scrolling through social media and, doom scrolling the news.
Definitely. Try limiting your screen time, especially before bed, and keep your phone out of reach while you're working or studying.
Easier said than done.
I know, right?
But I guess it's worth a try for, a calmer brain.
Absolutely. And speaking of calmer brains, there's another powerful technique we haven't discussed yet, therapeutic writing.
Therapeutic writing. Is that like writing a sad poem about all my problems?
Not exactly. It's more about writing about, a specific stressful event for about 15, 20 minutes a day for, a few days.
That sounds kind of intense. Why would I want to, relive my stressful moments?
Because research has shown that getting those thoughts and feelings out on paper, it can actually help us process them and reduce their impact.
So it's like venting to a friend, but on paper.
It's similar, but with therapeutic writing, you're not just venting, you're also, reflecting on the event and trying to make sense of it.
I never thought about writing as a way to deal with stress, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Well, there's one more concept I want to share with you that can, really change the way you approach your day.
Okay, I'm all ears. Lay it on me.
Have you ever heard of the idea of living a lifetime in a day?
Living a lifetime in a day. That sounds impossible.
It's not about, literally cramming your whole life into 24 hours. It's about consciously incorporating the 6 key elements of a fulfilling life into each day, even if it's just for a few minutes each.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are these 6 elements?
Well, first there's childhood. Remember how carefree and playful you were as a kid?
Yeah.
We need to tap into that sense of wonder and make time for activities that bring us joy.
So building a fort or playing with Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Next, there's work. This doesn't necessarily mean your job, but any activity that gives you a sense of purpose and accomplishment.
Like helping out with chores or
Yeah.
working on a project I'm passionate about.
Yes. Then there's solitude. It's important to carve out time for quiet reflection, introspection, just being with yourself.
So no phones, no distractions, just me time. Sounds blissful.
The next element is vacation.
Vacation. Every day. Sign me up.
Well, not a full-blown vacation,
Yes.
but taking a few minutes each day to do something you truly love, something that brings you joy and relaxation.
Okay, that's more realistic. What are the last 2 elements?
Family and retirement.
Family makes sense. Spending quality time with loved ones is important. But
Yeah.
retirement, I'm a 5th grader.
It's not about literally retiring. It's about taking a few moments at the end of each day to reflect on what went well, what you learned, and what you're grateful for.
Ah, I see it. Like a mini retirement ritual to wrap up the day on, like a positive note.
Exactly. By incorporating these 6 elements into each day, even in small ways, we can create a more balanced and fulfilling life.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. I'm starting to see how these different pieces fit together,
Yeah.
but it's a lot to remember.
Don't worry, we'll recap everything at the end. But before we move on, let's take another quick break to remind you about our YouTube channel.
Yes. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want to unlock even more knowledge across the spectrum, be sure to like and subscribe to Thinkiverse Podcast on YouTube.
We've got tons of other fascinating topics coming up, so hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.
We'll be right back with more insights and practical tips on how to, manage stress and live a more balanced life. Stick around.
So we've talked about incorporating those, 6 elements into your day to help manage stress.
Right.
But what about the idea of just pushing through it? You know, that keep calm and carry on mentality.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that phrase a lot, but is that, really a good strategy?
It can be tricky. That's where the idea of toxic resilience comes in.
Toxic resilience? That sounds kind of scary.
It can be. Imagine a friend who's always bragging about how busy they are, how little sleep they get, and how they never take breaks.
Okay, yeah.
They might seem super resilient on the surface,
Right.
but underneath they're probably burning out.
So it's like pretending you're okay when you're really not.
Exactly. True resilience isn't about ignoring your feelings or pushing yourself to the limit. It's about recognizing when you need a break, asking for help, and taking care of yourself.
That makes sense. So how can we tell if we're being truly resilient or if we're falling into the trap of toxic resilience?
It's about finding that balance between pushing yourself to grow and knowing when to rest and recharge. It's like training for a marathon, right?
Yeah.
You need to push yourself to run farther and faster, but you also need to listen to your body and take rest days when you need them.
So it's like being a coach for your own brain and body.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
You need to be both supportive and challenging, encouraging yourself to step outside your comfort zone,
Yeah.
but also knowing when to ease up.
That makes so much sense. Now I'm thinking about all the times I've pushed myself too hard and ended up feeling exhausted and overwhelmed.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
The key is to learn from those experiences and develop healthier coping mechanisms.
So what are some healthier ways to deal with stress besides breathing and writing?
Well, one of the most powerful tools we have is our mind
Okay.
and how we choose to think about things.
You mean positive thinking?
It's more than just thinking happy thoughts. It's about recognizing and challenging negative thought patterns that contribute to stress and anxiety.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say you make a mistake on a test and you start thinking, I'm so stupid, I'll never be good at math.
Yeah.
That kind of negative self-talk can really spiral out of control.
Oh, yeah.
And make you feel even more stress.
Yeah, I've totally been there.
So instead of getting caught up in that negativity, you can try to reframe your thinking. Ask yourself, is it really true that I'm stupid? Or did I just make a mistake that I can learn from?
So it's about turning those negative thoughts into positive ones.
It's more about challenging the validity of those negative thoughts and replacing them with more realistic and balanced
It
ones.
sounds like a lot of work.
It can be at first, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like learning a new skill.
Okay. I'm willing to give it a try. What else can we do to manage our thoughts and emotions?
Well, there's a practice called mindfulness that can be incredibly helpful.
Mindfulness. Isn't that meditation?
It's similar, but mindfulness is more than just sitting quietly with your eyes closed.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Okay, that sounds a little abstract. Could you give me a concrete example?
Sure. Imagine you're eating a piece of your favorite candy. Instead of just gobbling it down without thinking, you can practice mindfulness by really paying attention to the taste, the texture, the smell.
So it's slowing down and savoring the experience.
Exactly. And you can practice mindfulness with any activity, whether you're, walking, eating, showering, or even doing your homework.
So it's about being present and engaged in whatever you're doing.
Exactly. And the more you practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to notice when your thoughts are starting to spiral out of control and to gently bring yourself back to the present moment.
That sounds like a superpower.
I know, right?
I want to be able to control my thoughts like that.
It's not about controlling your thoughts. It's more about observing them without judgment and choosing to focus on what's important.
I'm starting to see how mindfulness could be really helpful for managing stress, but it still sounds a little mysterious.
Yeah.
How do I actually practice it?
There are lots of different techniques. You could try guided meditations, breathing exercises, or even just taking a few moments each day to focus on your senses.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a shot. What else is there?
Well, there's another powerful technique we haven't discussed yet. Gratitude.
Gratitude. You mean saying thank you?
It's more than just saying thank you. It's about cultivating a feeling of appreciation for the good things in your life.
Even when things are, like, tough.
Especially when things are tough. When we focus on what we're grateful for, it can, like, help shift our perspective and make us feel more positive.
So, like, instead of complaining about all the homework I have, I could be grateful that I have the opportunity to, like, learn.
Exactly. Or instead of focusing on the fact that it's, like, raining outside, you could be grateful for the, like, cozy feeling of being inside with, a warm blanket.
Okay, I'm starting to see the power of gratitude. But how do I, like, actually practice it?
One, like, simple way is to start a gratitude journal.
Okay.
Each day, write down a few things you're grateful for.
What?
It could be anything, big or small.
Okay.
Like the fact that you have a loving family, a comfortable bed, or even your favorite pair of shoes.
So it's about noticing and appreciating the good things in my life, even, like, the little things.
Exactly. And the more you practice gratitude, the more you'll start to see the good, like, all around you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we've talked about breathing, writing, mindfulness, and gratitude.
Yeah.
What other tools do we have in our, like, stress-busting toolkit?
Well, there's one more I want to mention that's often overlooked. Rest and relaxation.
Wait, you mean like sleeping in and watching TV?
Well, those can be a part of it, but rest and relaxation are more than just, like, vegging out. It's about giving your body and mind a chance to, like, recharge and rejuvenate.
So, like, taking a break from studying to go for a walk or play outside.
Exactly. Or taking a few minutes to listen to, like, calming music, read a book, or take a warm bath.
Those all sound, like, really nice, but what if I, like, don't have time for all that?
You don't need, like, hours and hours. Just a few minutes here and there can make a big difference.
Okay.
It's about making rest and relaxation, like, a priority in your life.
Okay, I can definitely try that.
Yeah.
But what about all the things I have to do? School, homework, chores.
Remember, true resilience isn't about pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding that balance between work and rest.
Right, so it's like being, like, a good coach for my brain and body,
Yes.
giving it the, like, challenges it needs to grow, but also the rest it needs to, like, recover.
Exactly. And you know what? One of the best ways to rest and recharge is to connect with nature.
Nature, like going for, like, a hike in the woods.
That's one way. But it could also be as simple as spending time in your backyard, going for a walk in the park, or even just, like, looking at pictures of nature.
I like that. It's about, like, getting away from screens and technology and just, like, enjoying the beauty of the natural world.
Exactly.
Right.
And studies have shown that spending time in nature can actually reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and boost your mood.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm definitely going to try that. What else can we do to, like, connect with nature?
Well, you could try gardening, planting a tree, or even just sitting outside and listening to the birds sing.
Those all sound, like, really relaxing.
Ah.
And I bet it's more fun than staring at my phone all day.
Definitely. It's all about finding those activities that help you feel, like, grounded, centered, and connected to something bigger than yourself.
I like that. So we've talked about a lot of different ways to manage stress and burnout, from breathing and writing to mindfulness and gratitude to rest and connecting with nature. Is there anything else we need to know?
Well, one last thing I want to emphasize is the importance of seeking support when you need it.
You mean like talking to a friend or like a family member?
That's a great place to start. But sometimes we need more than just, like, a listening ear. It's okay to reach out to, like, a teacher, counselor, or therapist if you're feeling overwhelmed.
But what if they, like, think I'm, like, weird or that my problems aren't, like, big enough?
I promise you, there's no such thing as a problem that's too small to talk about.
Okay.
And anyone who cares about you will want to support you.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
Yeah,
So it's okay to ask for help when I need it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a sign of strength, not weakness.
This has been a really helpful deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of stress and burnout and what I can do about it.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And remember, these are just, like, a few tools and techniques to get you started.
Right. It's about, like, finding what works best for me and creating my own, like, stress-busting toolkit.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, and see what helps you feel your best.
Okay. I'm ready to, like, take on the world,
Yeah.
or at least my homework,
Yeah.
with a, like, calmer and more resilient mind.
That's the spirit.
But before we wrap up, let's remind everyone about our awesome YouTube channel, Think Averse Podcast.
That's right. If you're enjoying this deep dive and want to unlock even more knowledge across the spectrum, be sure to like and subscribe to Thinkiverse Podcast on YouTube.
Yes.
We've got tons of other fascinating topics waiting to be explored and new videos coming out all the time.
Yes.
So hit that subscribe button and join us on this adventure of lifelong learning.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic. So we've talked about a ton of strategies for dealing with stress and burnout. But here's a question that's been, bugging me. Is it even possible to, completely avoid stress? I mean, life is full of challenges.
Right. That's a great question. And the short answer is no. It's impossible to completely avoid stress.
Yeah.
And actually, a little bit of stress can be a good thing.
Wait, really? How can stress be good?
Well, think about it. When you're facing a challenge like a big test or a competition, that little bit of stress can actually motivate you to prepare and do your best. It's like a little nudge from your brain saying hey, this is important. Pay attention.
So it's like stress can be our friend sometimes.
Exactly. As long as it's the right kind of stress and we don't let it overwhelm us. That's why it's so important to have healthy coping mechanisms in place.
Right, like all the strategies we've been talking about. Breathing, writing, mindfulness, gratitude, rest, and connecting with nature.
Exactly. Those are all great tools for managing stress and building resilience. And you know what's really cool about our brains? They're constantly changing and adapting based on our experiences.
You mean our brains can actually learn how to be less stressed?
Exactly. It's called neuroplasticity. And it means that our brains have the ability to rewire themselves, form new connections, and even grow new brain cells throughout our lives.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's like our brains are always evolving.
Exactly. And the best part is we have the power to influence that process.
Yeah.
Through our, thoughts, behaviors, and lifestyle choices.
So if we practice those stress-busting strategies, our brains will absolutely become more resilient over time.
Absolutely. And one of the most effective ways to rewire our brains for resilience is through mindfulness meditation.
There's that word again.
Yeah.
Mindfulness. You're really a big believer in it, aren't you?
I am. It's one of the most powerful tools we have for managing stress and cultivating well-being. And studies have shown that it can actually change the structure and function of our brains.
Really? So it's mindfulness can give our brains a makeover.
Exactly. It can increase activity in the areas of the brain associated with self-awareness, emotional regulation, and compassion.
That's pretty impressive. But I have to admit, I've always struggled with meditation. My mind just won't shut up.
I understand. Meditation can be challenging, at first, but remember, it's a practice, not a performance.
Right.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
So it's not about emptying my mind completely. It's more about learning to observe my thoughts without judgment.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like building a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I like that analogy. It's about flexing those mindfulness muscles.
Exactly. And remember, mindfulness isn't just about sitting on a cushion and meditating. It's about bringing that same sense of awareness and presence to all aspects of your life.
So being mindful while I'm, eating, walking, or even doing my homework.
Exactly. It's about savoring the little moments, appreciating the beauty around you, and connecting with others on a deeper level.
I love that vision. It's turning everyday life into a mindfulness practice.
Exactly. And, one of the most beautiful things about mindfulness is that it helps us cultivate a sense of gratitude for the present moment.
Gratitude again. You're really coming full circle with this, aren't you?
I am, because gratitude is truly transformative. It has the power to shift our perspective from what we lack to what we have, from what's wrong to what's right.
Okay. I'm convinced gratitude is awesome.
It is. And you know what's really fascinating? Gratitude can actually rewire our brains to be more positive and resilient.
Wait, seriously? So being grateful can actually change the structure of our brains.
That's right. Studies have shown that gratitude can increase activity in the areas of the brain associated with happiness, reward, and positive emotions.
So it's gratitude is a superpower. They can transform our brains and our lives.
I like the way you think. And the best part is gratitude is a free and accessible resource that we all have within us.
That's right. All you have to do is make a conscious effort to, cultivate it.
Exactly. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to start a gratitude journal.
A gratitude journal. What's that?
It's simply a notebook where you write down a few things you're grateful for each day.
Okay, that sounds easy enough. But what if I can't think of anything to be grateful for.
I promise you, there's always something to be grateful for. It could be as simple as the roof over your head, the food on your table, or, the air you breathe.
Right, it's about shifting our perspective and appreciating the little things.
Exactly. And the more we practice gratitude, the more we'll start to notice the good things in our lives.
So it's like gratitude is like a magnet that attracts more like positivity and abundance into our lives.
I love that metaphor. And, gratitude isn't just about focusing on the good things. It's also about acknowledging the challenges in our lives and finding the, lessons and growth opportunities within them.
So it's about reframing our struggles as like opportunities for learning and transformation.
Yes, precisely. And when we approach life with that kind of attitude, we become more resilient and better equipped to handle whatever comes our way.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I
Yeah.
feel like I've learned so much about stress, burnout, and like the power of gratitude and mindfulness.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, this is just the beginning. The journey of self-discovery and well-being is a lifelong adventure.
That's right, and we're all in this together.
Exactly. So let's support each other on this journey, share our stories, and spread kindness and gratitude wherever we go.
I love that vision. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us for another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
And remember to like and subscribe to Thinkiverse Podcast's YouTube channel for more thought-provoking conversations and insightful explorations.
We'll see you next time for another adventure in unlocking knowledge across the spectrum every day.